Hello, folks, and welcome to episode 16 of GingerLion's modded Minecraft Let's Play. In this case, it's episode 16 of my Agrarian Skies Skyblock map walkthrough, which is, by the way, available on the FTV launcher. So, I said this time we're going to work on Wizard School. We're going to work our way through at least the quest progressions for Thaumcraft. So, let's get started. The first step that I need to do is make a Thaumonomicon. So, let's see. Thaumonomicon. Bookshelf, wand, right click. Easy. So, first we need books. So, I need 3 books. Do I have any leather? Of course not. I haven't killed a single cow yet. 1. Have any books? I have 3 books. Nice. So, let's make ourselves a bookshelf. Let's do wand. And the only wand that I'm going to be able to make is an iron-capped wooden wand. So that's going to take some iron caps. Let's make ourselves some iron nuggets first. 2 sets of these should do the job. Let's make them into iron caps. And let's make that into a wand. Now, to get this started, bookshelf, ground, tap. There's my Thaumonomicon. For those who haven't played with Thaumcraft, I am not going to push my way through Thaumcraft exclusively on screen. In fact, I'm going to do it mostly off screen. But this book has all of the details that you might need to learn how to work through Thaumcraft. It's a really great primer. That's what it's designed to be. Now, the other thing that I have to do is make a sacrificial orb. And I have no idea how to do that, because I have never played with blood magic. But let's see. A sacrificial orb. Wow. That's absurdly easy. If I have the glass, which I don't. But a stack of sand later, and I will. Let's go ahead. 1, 2, and 3. There's a sacrificial orb. Open this up. Manual submit. And do I want an efficiency rune or a rune of sacrifice? I have no clue. Efficiency rune. Claimed. Let's make sure this heart is one that I want to eat. Yep. I now have an empty wand, I now have a full wand, along with the ones that I had already gotten, and I have myself a Greater Quest reward bag, which has in it a spiked pick, which is jagged, stone-bound, thaumic, stone. Not a great reward. I have a better pick that I've been using regularly, but the game doesn't know that, so can't complain there. Now, next step on the quest chain, I'm going to work this direction. Now, I need to figure out how to make those. How do I make shards? Take a hammer from Ex Nihilo or Ex Aquilo and hit blocks that produce shards. Obsidian, TNT, ice, grass, sandstone, slabs, and netherrack. Okay, I'm going to go do that off camera, and I'll be right back. So after collecting all the items together and thinking about it, I decided that I'm going to do all of this on camera, as opposed to off camera, because you guys might want to see this. So, I made myself a good iron hammer from Ex Nihilo, that's what I thought, and I'm going to work into one of these darker areas, and it's nighttime, so hopefully this won't melt. No drops there. There's one, and that's all that I need at the moment. I don't think I'm going to be doing that a lot more times on that particular block. So, next, one of the things that I need to break is grass. I don't have a lot of places where I have grass, so what I decided was to come in here and break grass, which doesn't seem to be working wonderfully. At the moment, I haven't gotten anything out of the deal. There we are. There's the shard that I needed. It just flicked by really quick and popped into my inventory. And now I can fill this area back in with dirt. Hopefully these mobs will get out of my way so that I can fill back in enough of this to be satisfied with the situation. Come on, out of the way, out of the way. Yep. If necessary, I will punch you so that you run away from me. There we are. Now, close this back up. Now I've done the two that I was honestly the most worried about, so let's go ahead and get the TNT. Nothing. Oh, there's a shard. Good. So now I've got 3. Now it's obsidian time. Obsidian's going to be very slow. I may do that off camera. It depends. Nah. You guys understand that sometimes these things take a little time. I'm sure it'll be okay. So now I've got 4 of the shards. How many did I need? 6. So we have yet to do obsidian. And it's slow. Big surprise. Wonder if I need a diamond hammer, but I'm not going to use up my diamond hammer on this. There we are. There's the shard I needed. Now, it looks like there's one more type of shard. And let me read the quest book. I did. The blocks to hit are obsidian, done, TNT, ice grass, sandstone slabs. That's the one that I have not done. And I will clean this obsidian mess up in a little bit. So double stacked sandstone slabs and a hammer. Six wasn't enough. This is proving to be not the greatest drop rate. And there we are. So now I can come over here, manually submit, and claim my reward. Now, my reward does include a full heart. That's a nice thing to have. It also includes some infused stones that I can smash to get stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and first open up this greater reward bag, and I got myself some more magnum torches. And while I like magnum torches, they're not stunningly valuable to me right now. So, what's our next quest on the list? Our next quest on the list is the one that I've actually been reaching for. First, I need to make myself 2 tables, put them together, and click on them with one of these wands. So, what's the recipe for a table? The Thaumcraft table goes like so. And I'm going to make 2 of them. I think it said, click on them with a wand. Let me check. Right-clicking on 2 tables placed next to each other with scribing tools, not a wand. So, this table is going to be useful to me later. Ooh, and I need a torch to put near it. That's not an acceptable thing. Let me put back these things that I don't need to work my way through anymore, and these I'm going to break with my... Where is my pickaxe, by the way? Must have cleared it out of my inventory in preparation for this episode. So, let's put these two down, break them with the pickaxe. That got me 3, which is good. Let's see if I can put a torch on the side of this. I'm sure that a torch over there won't help. Nor can I put one here. Well, I guess I'm going to have to do it this way. And... there we go. Now, I need to make myself some scribing tools. I'm pretty sure that I can handle that. I'm not 100% sure, because I have very few feathers, but scribing tools are made like this, and at the moment I don't have any glass bottles, but those are easy enough to make. Let's go with this recipe. Done. And scribing tools. Good. We'll put those on top of the table. And now I have a research table. Good. And my quest book says, now I need to make a thermometer. This is the item that is going to unlock the entire rest of Thaumcraft for me. And let me go ahead and make it as quick as I can. Thaum. Thermometer. And I'm going to use these 2 earth shards that I have right here. There is a thermometer. Now, what a thermometer is designed to do is to allow you to scan things. If you look in the bottom, nothing can be learned from this. Well, that's sad. Can anything be learned from a chest? I don't understand. So, I have in here all of the things that I need to scan in a pretty accurate order. So first I'm going to empty my inventory so that I can go through these as quickly as possible. I think I'm going to keep these wands on me because they're valuable. But let's get rid of, including my hammer, which I was just so glad to have found. Put my food down here and go get the items that I need to scan. Now, I very carefully put them in a specific order, which is the order they need to be scanned in. Let me explain that. Each of the aspects in Thaumcraft are built on other aspects. You start with what are called the primal aspects that you understand. But if you are trying to scan, remember when I tried to scan this chest over here and it said, you do not have the knowledge required to understand this. How about stone brick stairs? Turns out that I have that, and I discovered Saxum. Saxum is one of the prerequisites for cobblestone. If I hadn't understood Saxum, I wouldn't have been able to understand that cobblestone. So that's why these things are scattered in order. You'll notice the cobblestone was on my list in order. So let me grab this and this. Just a moment. And so the easiest way to scan things in Thaumcraft, toss them on the ground, scan them with a thermometer, pick them back up. The reason I'm going through them like this is because it is kind of picky as to what things need to be scanned in what order. And I just want to unlock this as quickly as possible. Being on a skyblock map, there are so many possible things that I don't have available. So now, I need to make one of them in the research table. So I happen to know that I need to make Victus, which is made of aqua and terra. Click. I've learned about Victus and gained 3 research points for it. Now, let me clear those out so that I don't accidentally use them again. And that's actually why I left a gap right here. Now, the next thing that I need to do is seeds, and then I'm leaving a gap, because you'll see why in just a minute. And now, I need to scan seeds before I understand enough to scan grass. Now I've scanned grass, I understand enough to scan wood. Once I've done that, I understand the things necessary to be part of a trap door, and on such. So, I'm going to step off camera and do the rest of this scanning, because quite frankly, if you don't want to be completely spoiled with it, it's a good idea for you to work through this process on your own, and I'll be back once I have the rest of these researched. Hello, folks. Welcome to episode 17 of GingerLion's Agrarian Skies Hardcore questing map playthrough. I made a couple of minor changes since last time, and I think this episode's on a slightly different course than those of you who expected me to be doing my Thaumcraft research, which I sort of promised, but I'm going to do things a little differently this time. Between episodes, I came over here and I made myself a little bit of a cactus farm. It looks like I made it one too high. But what I did was, put torches, sand, dirt underneath, and a harvester up here with my usual setup. And in the process, I had to run cables and whatnot. And I just finally first of all, I almost ran out of obsidian. So, in almost running out of obsidian, which, as you can all tell, I absolutely love as a building material, especially for skyblock maps, because it produces a feeling of safety for me, I decided that I needed more lava. So, carved myself a little hole underneath my base, in this area down here where I had originally intended it to be a basement. And I went ahead and I put, obviously, fire down here, because I've been informed that fire is better, and set all of these up to export cobblestone and import. So you can see I had to make a heck of a lot of import buses and a heck of a lot of export buses. And thus we finally get to the centerpiece of what I intend to work on today. I ran into a little bit of a problem with how fast my equipment works. Specifically, at the moment, my bottleneck is these 2 furnaces. I have this one set up to make silicon, which is necessary for processors. I have this one set up to make raw plastic, which is necessary for processors and cables. I have this one set up for both of the processors, glass, which is necessary for all sorts of things, and rubber bars. I'm not particularly happy at the moment with the fact that this setup is so slow. So, I'm going to do a little bit of work down below and start setting up a process that keeps me the number of things that I want in the system at all times. So, how am I going to do that? Well, first thing that I need is power. And my power all comes in from that end of the world, and it stretches all the way through a good ways. And I can't go through this wall. I wanted to, but right in here is that sludge boiler I built, and I guess I could go tear it down or whatever, but for the moment, I'm just going to leave it in place. So, I am going to probably tap into the wall right here. Let's see if I can go in right here. I think I can go in and not get hurt by the sludge boiler right here. Perfect. And that puts me right next to my ME system, right where I want to be. As you can see, this layer here is where the obsidian is. I'm not going to be digging through that obsidian, because again, that's the layer of safety that I worked so hard to produce underneath my base, and the reason that I got started on this whole thing. So, let me run out some cables and set up a couple of things, and I'll be right back to show you how I'm going to automate this process of ensuring that what I want, when I want it, is available. See you back in a minute, folks. Okay, folks, so let me show you what it is that I want to do. The first thing that I'm going to do is set myself up some ME interfaces. This is going to be where I'm going to set up my devices to export to. I'm going to set down this whole row of them that I've got. Just like so. Now, the devices that I'm going to start by automating are my redstone furnaces. So, a set of redstone furnaces set up like so. As you can see, I've got a little bit of room back there that I intend to carve out, but I haven't done so yet. And I left enough room here for 2 more furnaces, because there are 2 upstairs, the 2 that I'm sort of replacing. So now, how do I want to set up these furnaces? All of them, I would like them to import from the top and export to the back. So that's shift-click, left-click, right-click. Relatively simple pattern. Let me set all these up, and I'll be right back. Okay, all of those are set up. And now I'm going to put something on top of these that I relatively rarely use, unless I have to, though that may change in the future, specifically because of what we're about to do. I'm going to put precision export buses on the top of these furnaces. The reason I want precision is because I want all of these set up to only operate when they have a redstone signal. All of these are going to operate in a conditional state. What do I mean by that? I mean there are times that I don't want these furnaces to turn on. So how do I set that up? Well, the next thing that we want is a level emitter. And I would like to set that level emitter right here. Now, the advantage of setting these up right here next to this large CPU is that now all of these are connected to the network. And because they have no configuration whatsoever, they're on. This whole thing is going to be active. So now, how do I want to set them up? Well, let's see. Let's go upstairs and grab the first pair of items that we need. Actually, let me grab a couple. I want raw rubber. I want rubber bars. I want raw plastic. That's all good. I want... Let's see, what else do we have over here configured? Well, definitely going to need silicon. And I'm definitely going to need glass. All the time, I want all of those things. So, silicon, which I'm making from... Let's see, it looks like today I'm going to be making it all out of... What are the recipes for silicon? If I recall correctly, there's a recipe for silicon that purely involves raw plastic. So today, I'm going to make that out of plastic. Good. Now that I'm about to set up a system by which that will actually work. It may take a little while to catch up, but that's just fine. And I want some sand and some glass. So let's go downstairs and set up a couple of these furnaces so you can see what I intend. Let's start with the plastic processing line. I would like this to export a signal if there are above or equal to... I would like to keep 1,000 raw rubber in the network. I happen to know that there are 30,000 raw rubber in the network, so this should stay active. But just to test it, I'm going to flip this switch. Yeah. Okay. This is going to export, and given how batched this is going to be, I'm going to have it send entire stacks. Now, this furnace is going to keep getting rubber and keep turning it into rubber bars as long as there's enough rubber in the network. If the rubber drops below 1,000, this will shut off. I don't expect it to drop below 1,000 anytime soon, but raw plastic is useful to me. So this one, we're going to do it with rubber bars. And if I'm correct, I have very few uses for rubber bars. I don't make conveyor belts often. Well, at the moment, I have no use for neoprene. XP extractors, no thanks. Det cord, not using. I smelt it into plastic. That's basically what I do with this stuff. So I'm going to keep 100 on hand. And I'm going to make sure... Yep, so right now I know there's more than 100 in the network. Emit when levels are equal to... Are there 100? There may not be. So, That's what I want. And I'm going to have that trigger this to export stacks of rubber, which means that I will drop possibly as low as 64, so that's 30 some odd, which is fine. Since I don't need much, that's just fine. And raw plastic. So now we have made these two are going to cook me rubber, and the rubber is going to be cooked into plastic. So that's just fine. Now, silicon. I would like, if there are less than 200. In this case, I'm going the opposite direction. I want it to emit when levels are below. And right now I know there's less than 200. So I want to make sure that there are always 200 silicon in the network. And so I'm going to export stacks of raw plastic into here until there are enough. You need to active with signal. Good. All of these should be active with signal. Yeah, good. So, we have one making us rubber bars. We have one that's going to be turning our rubber bars into raw plastic. We have one that's going to use our raw plastic to make silicon. That all seems really great to me. Well, let me get rid of these because I'm pretty much done with them. I'm done with rubber bars. I'm done with raw rubber. I was only using raw plastic to make silicon, so now I have those steps automated. So what's next? Well, what's next is I'm going to set this to move stacks, but first I want to configure this. I want there to always be 2,000 glass. So if it ever drops below 2,000, emit when levels are below or equal. I know there's less than 2,000, so this is going to export stacks of glass, sand, into the network, by which we'll make glass. 2,000 sounds like a lot, but I'll tell you, it's relatively easy to go through that much plastic. That much glass. Especially when I'm automating these things the way I am. So now, let me go upstairs and figure out what it is that I want to stack the rest of these with, because I know I had plans for all of them. Okay, so now, what I'm doing up here, I removed from these the recipe for, well, it doesn't show it anymore, recipe for glass, the recipe for rubber bar, recipe for raw plastic, and the recipe for silicon. I removed them, and I'm blanking those recipes out. I believe firmly that my system is never again going to need to manually make those things, because it's going to have a huge stock of them at all times. And even if it doesn't, it's not going to be able to speed it up much. So let me look. There's only 5 raw plastic. How many rubber bars do we have? 73. As soon as that number kicks over 100, I expect 64 of it to immediately go away. And that'll make me happy, because then I'll be getting plastic, which will be turned into silicon. I have other uses for that, but that's just fine. Now, I need to make ME-encoded, I need basic processors and advanced processors. I would like there always to be a certain number of each one of these in the network. So, how am I going to do that? Well, I would like there to always be 20 of these. And let's craft one of these. Good. And craft one the whole way. And craft one of these, please. Now, there it is. Good. So now the next 2 furnaces. I have plenty of gold, so it doesn't pain me whatsoever to stick this in here, emit when levels are below, and tell it that I want 200. So basically, if there's ever less than 200 basic processors in here, this is going to set to move craft these in. So now this should, as soon as it can, begin crafting these and tossing them in here. That will make sure that there's always at least 200 processors. I in fact expect this to be full, so I think it'll make 264 in every case. which is why I'm going to be really careful about this one, because this is going to use up my diamonds, and I don't have a heck of a lot of diamonds. Well, I have a bunch of diamonds, but I don't have anywhere near as many as I might want, and I don't have a really good process for making them at the moment. So, move single items craft. Activate once per pulse, perhaps? No. There are no other good choices for me to turn on here. You know what? I may have to do something different. Let me think about this for a minute, folks. I'll be right back. You know, with 273 diamonds and the use that I go through with these things, I think they're worth it. But I am going to set the limit pretty low. What I'm going to do is this. Let me make sure I'm on the right one. I am. This, I would like to emit when levels are below or equal to 10. 5. Emit when they're below or equal to 5. No, below. And I know that I have more than 5 in there right now. So what happens if I go up to 10? It's got that. It doesn't have 20. So what I'd like to do is figure out exactly how many I have, and I'm going to do that this way. Okay, so I have 13 in the network. I'm going to change that number to 14, and I want to see how many processors it's going to go through in this process. So I'm going to active with signal only. Good. And I'm going to tell it that. Let's see how many we get. Active with signal, move single items, craft. We may not have much silicon in the network right now, and that may slow this down. So, okay, so that's just fine. I'm actually going to set this number back down to 5. And when we drop below 5 diamond processors, it's going to feed some in there. And it might feed 20 for all I know. But it should then gain above 4, above 5. All will be well, and it will have used some of my diamonds, but not too many. Now the last two are, I don't know, slightly frivolous, but I happen to know that there's a quest in the future. Let me show it to you. Click here to start, Hell's Kitchen. I have a quest in here that tells me to make 10,000 toast. Yeah, I know, it's a lot. Toast is dough into bread, and bread into toast. Well, you know, I might as well just set up these 2 furnaces to do this job for me. Oop, I don't want to go in there. Those go in here. So, bread. We have plenty of bread. Good. Toast. Well, you don't have much toast. That's fine. And dough. We have plenty of dough. So, I'm going to tell the system that if we have, let's see, this one's already set up. If we have less than 10,000 bread toast, emit when below, yep, then I would like you to export bread. And I would like you to do it that way. And this one as well, if we have less than 200 bread, I would like you to send in dough. So now we have a process by which 10,000 bread will be produced, 10,000 dough will be turned into 10,000 bread, which will be turned into 10,000 toast, and will leave me a little bit of spare bread left over in case I have other crafting needs for it. So those 2 will continue to function for all time until there's enough toast for me to hand that quest in, and then I'll probably go repurpose them. So, let's see. What other purposes at the moment? This isn't necessary. Neither is that. Yellorium ingots. Wow. There's an interesting case, because yellorium ingots are basically my source of power, which would make you think that I need to make as many of them as I can. But also, I occasionally need this sulfur for other purposes. So, I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to keep in my network, and I also need to run a pulverizer to make this happen. So I think, let me look at what else the pulverizer does at the moment. Nothing that I'm using pretty much in my automatic processes. Good. So what I'm going to do is take one yellorium dust, one yellorium ingot, and I'm going to come downstairs and set this last furnace to try as hard as it can to keep 200... Ooh. I moved too quickly. So, I need to move my other two furnaces down here. That's why there was an issue. You now have no automatic purposes, and you only have one. And it's not one that I need right now. So first let's wipe yellorium, because we're about to be done with it. And toss it in here. Done? Good. Now, I have my crescent hammer. That's good. And I'm going to take this away. Do I have a cable? I do. Good. Make sure those are connected. And I might as well not leave that in place. It's useful down below. And put that in place. Good. Now, I'm leaving this up here because at some point I'm going to set up what I'm going to call my manual processing equipment for those times when I just need to cook something, so I don't have to come down here and mess with my automated line. You. And you. And you. So now, this one, I managed to put away the yellorium that I was working with. Yeah, I put it down here. Good. Okay. So this is what I was looking for. Because yellorium is a power source for me, I'm going to try to keep 250 yellorium ingots and emit when levels are below that. Right now, it looks like there's more than that. But when there isn't, I would like you to move and craft. So now, let me just bump that up 64, because I know this is just going to begin tossing yellorium in here just slightly slower than it can craft it. And you need to be set up to import from the top and export to the back like all of the rest of my network. So good. That works. And now I'm going to test all the rest of these that I'm not 100% sure if they work because I haven't seen them. 2. Worked. 1, 2. You are working. You, I'm not going to mess with. And the rest of you all should be working. Now, at the moment, we don't have enough. Oh, wait, I didn't want to export. Yeah, I did. I want to export enough raw plastic to make silicon out of. Good. Sorry. Confused myself there. So, you should be making plastic. And it's probably being used in a couple of automated construction. But let me check. 158 plastic, and none of it has been exported. Ah, that's because I demanded that there be a certain... No. What's going on here? We have 1. active with signal. You have a signal. And you are going to move stacks of raw plastic. I'll be right back, folks. I seem to have a problem. There are times that I feel just a little bit silly for not looking things over more closely. This, not useful. Not necessary, in fact. I am going to... I can actually go ahead and... yeah, set this to not... because the reason it wasn't importing it in here is because raw plastic doesn't go in a furnace. If I want silicon, what I need to do is make myself an auto-crafting recipe in here that will convert raw plastic into silicon like so. And that will go here in my auto-crafter, not anywhere else. So, that was my mistake. I definitely put that in the wrong place. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put this back in here since I'm leaving it here for the moment, just in case I decide I want more crucibles. Now, I don't have much raw plastic in the network anymore because something that I asked for a long time ago. No, it's probably making processors. Yeah, if there's no silicon, then it's definitely making some of the things that I asked for. Good. That pleases me quite a lot. So, I'm going to let this system sit for just a little while quite frankly, I go downstairs and see if I can expand this line one more. I intend to put fluid import buses along here so that I can collect this lava, and then it's time for me to set up an igneous extruder somewhere probably right there, set up making, turning this lava that I'm producing and some water into obsidian so that I can have my favorite building material back. So, I will see you guys in just a couple minutes. Okay, folks, so I'm doing two more little associated projects just for grins. The first one is this. I decided that I want to automate my sawmill, and I personally decided that 5,000 jungle wood planks is just about enough, so my sawmill's cooking away as fast as it can. Now you can hear the thunderstorm outside. Next, I would really like to solve my little problem with... I'll show you. There are two things that go together that help me, I don't know, solve a problem. The problem is, if you look at the two largest number of items that I have, they're mushrooms. And, well, I'm pretty much done with mushroom bacon burgers quests, but there is another quest that I'm interested in, and it's in Go With The Flow. And it's right here. I need to make myself 16 million buckets of mushroom soup. That's a lot. But the quest reward is mushrooms and, well, the happiness of having finished. And since I have lots of mushrooms, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to teach my system how to make this snack. And I'm going to encode it. I'm going to toss it in here. Then, and I'm going to make one, because that makes a lot of sense. Let's make ourselves a mushroom soup. That was easy. And I'm going to go to this fluid transposer that I put down here, and I want another precision export bus. And I'm probably going to need to go upstairs and get myself another level emitter at some point. But at the moment, what I really want is to just move all of the mushroom soup you possibly can into here. And let me set this up right. Import from the top. You should, under all circumstances, be moving mushroom soup. And that'll basically, this is the sort of delay that I've been dealing with recently with my auto-crafting system. It bothers me. Come on. I did teach you how to make the mushroom stew. Is that what I have in my hand? Mushroom stew. But you're not exporting into here. I think I have an idea as to what might be wrong. I think when I make it, what I get is not what I asked for. I think when I make it, what I get, well, let's see. I'm going to let me clear this out, put this in here. I would like to make sure that it's this mushroom. No. Clear this all out. Clear. I want that mushroom, and I made a whole bunch of bowls just to make sure that I had them. That bowl. Let's encode that again. Toss it in here. Now let's go look and see what's going on. It's not lit up yet. Oh, I think... Yes, that's how I want it. Can I do this? Well, I think I can. The mushroom soup by Natura, as opposed to the mushroom stew by Hunger Overhaul. The Hunger Overhaul one can be put in here, and I can dump mushroom stew out of it. But the Natura one, I can't. That's... That's sad. The recipe's right here. It tells me this is how to make it. But I get the Natura one, which I can't do this job with. Never mind, folks. I thought I had a great idea, but I'm wrong. Hello again, folks. So, I've had a little bit of an ignominious last couple minutes. I had just finished a project when I was killed. Shot in the back by an arrow. Turned around, decided to fight him. It was silly. Anyway, I'd like to show you what I did. It was a little bit of work, but it seems to have turned out really well. So, what I did is, you notice, see all these cables are blue, all these ones are purple. My primary network is purple. This network is blue. So what exactly does the difference between blue and purple mean? Well, in this case, what I did, I need to do a little bit more work. I separated my networks. I basically made two distinct networks. One, which is responsible for feeding the item creation process. What I mean by that is all of my pulverizers up above, all of my cobble gen, all of the gravel and sand generation process, the process that makes the hammers, all of that. Moved that all and made a new assembler for it. What that means is it's not tying up my big powerful assembler over here doing those necessary steps. And they are necessary for me to continue getting items. And go show you what that means up above. When I come over here, all of the machines in this building are all tied into the blue network. You see that? Took a bit of work with cabling and whatnot to get that to happen. And so that means that the only things that are in this crafting terminal that are in this network are the things that are needed. Now, I had to do some tricky stuff to do that. Let me show you the tricky stuff. The first thing that I had to resolve was the fact that this network over here needs hammers. And hammers are made out of cobblestone and wood. So the first thing that I did is I took an interface, and you'll notice that the cable comes in here, and these export buses come from the blue network. Actually, let me show you the wood one first. So this, connected to the blue network, and exporting to it are stacks of jungle wood planks and the rotten flesh. The rotten flesh is going to the dirt generation. And here's a level emitter. Now, here's the tricky stuff. I told this network, whenever you are less than, in this particular case, 500 wood, turn on this level emitter. This, which is connected to my main network, says, whenever you receive a signal, pump out a stack of wood. So this network can now request wood by turning on that level emitter. I did a somewhat similar thing over here. This has a set of export buses set to export gravel, sand, cobble, and dust whenever there are more than 1,000 of them in this network. So you'll notice that it has just under 1,000 of cobble, sand, gravel, and it's slowly working its way up there at dust. That means that as long as I come over here, and this is between 900 and 1,000, then the entire system is working just like it's supposed to. It's making all of those things. It looks like I have a problem in the gravel department. I don't have enough gravel production being done. And I'm pretty sure that at the moment I have more than enough sand production being done, so I have to go upstairs and tweak that a little bit to get it all working just the way I want it to. Let me just look around for a minute. Like I said, I recently got killed, as we can see. And so I'm a little nervous for yellow X's or whatnot on tops of things. Let me just, while I'm still down here, and obviously I need to go fix that gravel situation soon, but while we're still down here, I wanted to point out that this bus is exporting dirt, green mushrooms, fuse wood, netherwort, blood sapling. These are all examples of things, and over here are some more examples of things that this network makes that I don't want it to keep. You know, purple mushrooms, ghast tears, emeralds, Certus quartz, all of the stuff that this process makes other than ore. So basically all it's holding on to are the pulverized, the crushed, and the broken ore pieces. I've actually got it set to manufacture let me see if I can find them for you. There we are. To manufacture the dust chunks and only send those out of the network. So I moved those recipes over here, which means now I can go upstairs now that I'm pretty sure. Oh wait, there's one other trick. One other tricky thing. Because one of the processes, the process that makes soul sand, requires witch water. I have a fluid export bus sitting right here, exporting witch water, and I had to make, I'm going to show you my storage system, I made one 64K drive to make sure that it'll hold all the items that show up here, and one of the smallest 1K fluid storage things. What this will do is basically it's going to fill up with witch water, which is going to be, wow, looks like close on 300 buckets. Yeah, 300 buckets of witch water, which is fine. And that's being used to feed the witch with the soul sand creation process. So let me go upstairs, do a little bit more tweaking in an attempt to get the gravel situation correct. Do I have cobble? I do. Come over here. And what I've been doing is, as necessary, I've been switching some of these. Is it these? No, it must be these. So this is pushing cobble into, this is pushing cobble. That's turning gravel into sand. Let's switch it. And I will have it make gravel instead. So let me pull this out. Toss the gravel in here. And I'm at 810, call it. So I'll check back later and make sure it's still somewhere near 810. Still carrying around the head that I got. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with it. I could make it into a golden head. I can make fireworks out of it. What's the use of a golden head? I thought there were a bunch of uses for it, but at the moment I don't know. So anyway, I think I'm probably just going to toss it in my system. I also, let me just show you this. Get all this stuff out of my inventory that I'm not using right now. I'm going to have to put that elevator somewhere because I'm not real happy with this being my only entrance and exit. Obviously, I cleared this entire space out. I'm going to start using it for a production floor. And right behind this wall, you can actually hear it if you listen real close. That little crackling noise, that is my lava production facility. I finished it off to the best of my abilities, and sealed it in an attempt to get as little lighting updates going on as possible, because that fire produces a lot of lighting updates, which can lag my system. This area in here, by the way, this is the area that's completely filled off, the one area that I didn't clear out. That's where my sewage boiler thing is. So anyway, yes, my system has somewhat stabilized. I'm still exporting raw rubber, and I'm going to for a long time, and exporting rubber bars. That's just fine. I've made enough, this is the empty one that we still haven't got a use for. I've made enough glass that the system has stabilized. I've made enough basic and advanced processors. I've not yet made enough loaves of bread. It's going to be a long time on that one. I actually messed this up and left this on active all the time, so it used up all of my current stock of sulfur. Bit of a problem. And I had this set the wrong way too, but so that made me a whole bunch of extra planks, but I don't have a problem with that. So the net result is I now have 921 yellorium ingots and just a little bit of sulfur that's come in from the pulverization going on in there, which is going to stop real soon because I'm almost out of coal. I've got lots of pulverized coal, but no coal at all. So let's see, what else is there? Yes, there's plenty of rubber, and my plastic is reasonably good. I used it to make a bunch of export buses earlier. And now my system is very alert. When I ask for it to make things, it makes them very rapidly. So there we are, folks. The only thing I have yet left that I had intended to do this episode is, let's see, I wanted I have plenty of igneous extruders. I would like a pair of fluid export buses and a interface. There we are. And I need no power for this, but I'm going to do it downstairs anyway. That's where I'm moving most of my production machines. Oh, I would like a level emitter as well. Fluid level emitter, actually. I've not taught my system how to make one of these. Let me go ahead and teach it rather than making it. Huh. That's awfully easy. Nice. And I don't have to remember how easy it is. There we are. Let's make one of these. Okay. So, what is this for? Well, remember at the beginning I told you that I had run out almost completely of sometimes my brain just doesn't work like I want it to. I'm going to need some cable, I'm pretty sure. But I had run out almost completely out of obsidian. Well, I like having obsidian. And so what I'm going to do, this is going to need two sides, and that's actually kind of useful for me. Blue and output to the back. So I'm going to put this interface back here. That's really only here to catch items. And this allows me an excuse for ending this line of machinery, because now I have a fluid bus on the end. And I'm definitely going to need some cable, but only one. So, and what am I going to use this fluid level emitter for? Well, it goes right up here. I'm really sad that these extra cells, like bounding boxes, are so large. They've caused me several problems over time. I need some cable. Unfortunately, I now have lots of blue cable that I don't need, and not that much regular undyed cable. I wonder if there's a way of undying this cable. Yeah, there is. I'm just going to undye all of it. It's a waste of lapis, but I have lapis. Okay, good. Back to what I was doing. Oh, I need two things that I don't have. I would like a bucket of water. Where did all my buckets go? I had hundreds of buckets once upon a time. Oh, they're all being used to make various fluid storage devices and level emitters and etc. Well, that's fine. I need to come up here and get... I have 7 kilo buckets of lava. Time for me to reduce that number slightly. I have a system producing it as fast as can be. I may very well need more than one of these, but we'll see. Let's start with one. You are going to move water buckets under all circumstances, so this should fill up with water real quick. Setting it to obsidian, and you, when we emit when levels are above or equal, I would like to keep one. That'd be a bucket. That'd be 10. That'd be 100. That's theoretically, that's 1,000 buckets or 1 kilo bucket of lava. Now, if I'm correct, this should be emitting because it's emitting when we're above or equal. So this, I'd like you to export lava. The only question is, does it export lava faster than the igneous extruder uses it? Why, yes, it does. Willing to bet that I need a bunch more igneous extruders to keep up with the amount of lava that I'm producing. But nonetheless, I now at least have one lava production device. I'm probably going to set up 3 or 4 more over here. You know what? Might as well do it right now while I'm at it. Igneous extruders. I need fluid export buses, fluid level emitters. Let's make 10. 5 will do to start. There we are. Really can only make 9, but that's fine. And 10 interfaces, please. See, that's much more alert. That's the way I'd like my system to act when I tell it to. I know that it's making cable right now and making all of the necessary components, but I like that it's responding in seconds, not... Sometimes I used to have to wait for 3 or 4 minutes before it would actually begin crafting something, and I know that's because it was hung up on a bunch of other jobs, so I separated those jobs out. Makes sense. Okay, so let's see. Smart money for density would involve digging one more hole in the floor. And that is why I left this here. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I have fluid export buses, if I recall correctly, do not store any data when broken and cannot be broken with a wrench. Is that correct? Yes, they cannot be broken with a wrench. I'd like that to point up, just like that. Put in a cable. And since this is what I'm doing, I think that's as far as I wish to go. So these ones on the bottom are going to be set to export water. And this is going to be switched from this to that. We'll start with this one down here. You, water. All of these set to water. Just real quick like... I think relatively soon I'm going to need to set up another bank of aqueous accumulators, because I only have 2, and they're feeding this whole system. And I would hate to run out of water. It would be unpleasant. Let's put this back down, since that line is connected and no longer necessary. Six. 6. Okay. There we go. A quick reconfigure of all of them. There we are. And the level emitters. For those of you who are used to working with the level emitters from over here, because of the bounding box issues that I was just talking about, how they are, a full cube, it's a little bit different. When you're placing over this, you can point at just this little box here. You have to point at this whole large cube. Just a little different for those of you who, haven't dealt with it before. So I want 1,000,000. Yep. And I would like to above or equal. Is that right? I put one too many zeros. Okay. I swear I just heard a monster die, but it was probably the grinder up above me. And for those who aren't 100% sure why I configured it that way, I basically just told my system, keep 1,000 buckets of lava at all times. Active with signal is what I want, yes. And there we go, folks. There is a relatively easy method of converting a whole bunch of lava into obsidian, which, as you all know, I consider to be a pretty optimal building material when you're working with skyblock, especially this skyblock, because it means you're safe and even explosions aren't going to wreck you. And I do not want you all set to cobblestone, so the moment I've got lots of cobblestone, what I want is to use up a whole bunch of lava and get a whole bunch of obsidian. So, there we are. Now these are set correctly. And I'm going to call that an episode, folks. So, I had been, prior to this episode, planning on doing a bunch of work on Thaumcraft. Actually, the whole reason for the bypass, as funny as this sounds, is I wanted cactus, and the reason that I wanted cactus, in fact, I just figured out what to use my furnace for down below. I wanted cactus green. The reason I wanted cactus green is I wanted to be able to dye some of the cobblestone, the stone bricks that I have. I wanted to be able to dye them green to make a Thaumcraft room. Yeah. Emit when levels are above or equal to 200 cactus. You, active with signal, stacks a cactus. And now we have a process for making cactus green. Good. So there we go. Now we are at exactly what I wanted when we started this episode, which was the ability to paint blocks green. And there we are, folks. Cactus green in so that I can use it as a dye. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I will see you all next time.